Hey, what's up guys, Benny here, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you my best controller and graphics settings so you can do the best you possibly can, as well as a few other things that you need to tweak to fix some of the problems that are currently in Warzone Pacific, including that lagging issue that everyone seems to be getting at the moment. But first of all, let's hop straight into my controller settings, as I know that's something that both PC and console players can use alike. Now, if we go straight up to the top, the BR button layout first of all, I go for tactical. This is the perfect setup that allows you to drop shots and like slide cancel while also being able to melee from time to time. But being able to kind of like drop shot, go to prone, a slide cancel is something you do a lot more often. That moves it to the right stick rather than being on B. Especially if you don't have like a scuff controller, an elite controller, something with paddles on the back, tactical is where you want to be. Now, the stick layout preset is default, invert vertical look is disabled. Then there's a couple of dead zone settings with Pacific. I personally use a 0.1. You want to go as low as you can before you start getting stick drift. This just means that your sticks are as reactive as possible. And then the max input should just be 0.99. Now, if we go to sensitivity, the rule of thumb I've always said is start on a lower sensitivity, like a 4.4. This gives you far greater control with your aim, and is going to allow you to perform better consistently. If someone's like on a super high sensitivity, their aim normally goes all over the place like a windmill. It's just not possible. Start low and then work your way up. So I originally, when Warzone first came out, was on a 4.4. I'm now on a 6.6, and then I have an ADS sensitivity multiplier of 0.85. This has actually changed from the Verdansk days. So you now have custom sensitivity per zoom. You want to switch that on because you want all your low zoom scopes to be 0.85. So your low zoom, your 2 times, and your 3 times, as that gives you a good level of control to kind of get center mass and then flick up to headshots. And then your further distance scopes for your snipers, you want at a 1. That means that you're able to kind of track your opponents properly, and it kind of not kind of be moving faster than you can track. It's a small thing, but definitely worth doing. Something that I learned when starting to snipe a lot. The aim response curve, you want to make sure it is dynamic. This just means that your aim acceleration kind of goes kind of at a dynamic rate rather than kind of just being consistent. So it will kind of accelerate the more you kind of hold your thumbstick. It kind of like changes that kind of curve. Trust me, makes a big difference. Do it. Controller vibration is off. Aim assist is standard. Don't kind of fiddle around that. The standard one is the best one. And there's also some graphic settings which improve this on PC as well, which we'll get onto in a second. Scale aim assist with FOV, you want that disabled. This means that even on a PC, that when you've got a wide FOV, you still get the same aim assist region. And I do hope every console player gets FOV soon. I know next-gen consoles surely have the power to be able to do it. Weapon mount shared input is ADS plus melee, enabled, hold. Then a really important one, make sure you've got contextual tap on. I see some people not have this, and it really slows you down when looting. At the start of a game, have that on contextual tap. It's a huge improvement that I have enabled. And then something else I've changed recently is apply all. Now you can cancel putting your plates on, but it just means that you have to hold Y or triangle once, and it'll put all your plates on, and then you can cancel it if someone's engaging you. It just saves you having to kind of press 1 or hold Y or triangle all the time. Slide behavior is tap. This makes slide canceling a lot easier, so you can kind of traverse the map a lot better. Auto move forward disabled. Double tap for tac sprint, but I have auto tac sprint on. This is just really effective at just making sure you're moving as fast as possible and going into slide canceling as well. And also means you're just not mashing that left thumbstick all the time, which really kind of like breaks your controller, to be perfectly honest. I trashed my left thumbstick on a couple of old controllers because I was just constantly mashing it before going to tac sprint. Only time you don't want to use tac sprint is if you're using a shotgun, as I personally hate like strafe shooting with a shotgun. It just sometimes throws me off. Vehicle camera recenter is disabled. Parachute auto deploy is disabled. So remember to pull your chute. It will help you out. Next, let's go to audio. I use boost low. This helps me identify my footsteps a lot easier. Also, make sure you're wearing a headset. I use Turtle Beach Elite Pro 2s. They are a partner on the channel, and there is a link down in the description if you're looking for a new pair of headphones for Christmas. I would highly recommend them. I've used them for years. But boost low. Master volume is 100. Music, I just take off. You don't need it. It's just going to kind of hide other key sounds, especially at end game when the music starts ramping up. Dialogue volume is 25. You don't really need to hear those audio callouts that much. You can put subtitles on if you want to make sure that you get all the callouts. Effects volume is 100. Cinematic volume is 100. Juggernaut music off. Classic on the hit marker, mono audio disabled, mono amount 100, and then just put it on your default system device. And then this is whatever you use for your microphone. And then war tracks as a passenger is also off. I personally just like having no music whatsoever, so I can hear every sound effect in the game. Next, if we go to interface, I've got a few things here that I personally use that you might not want to, but I still think will massively help. So subtitles, you can turn it on if you want it. I personally have it off. Colorblind type is protanopia. Now, I personally really like, one, I am colorblind, but I also really like how bright and orange the dots on the minimap are with protanopia. I think it stands out a lot more than just regular red ones. And then I target it to interface only. Now, one of the reasons I do it is I'm a content creator, so I don't want to make my game look a bit weird by targeting both. But the interface just means I can see my minimap and stuff properly. Everything else, then you just need to minimap shape as square. Minimap rotation is enabled, so when you quickly glance at your minimap, you can tell where opponents are based off where you are just by kind of having a quick flick up rather than having to figure it out if it's just kind of set. Kill feed duration's default, and then everything else I kind of have as default here. I show my FPS counter and server latency, so I know if there's something outside of my control messing up in my game, but hopefully that doesn't happen too much. Graphic settings, very important. Always play on full screen. This just means that you don't get any input lag. Then screen refresh rate, 165 hertz. I play on 1440p at 165. Remember, this changes depending on whatever monitor you're using. If you've got a 240 hertz monitor, have 240 hertz, and that's all kind of like down to your own personal setup. I use a Lenovo Legion Len Y27 GQ20 at 165 hertz. So that's what I have set up. Then your render resolution, you can adjust this depending on the power of your PC as well. But personally, I just keep it kind of like how it is. Disabled, pretty much I then change my custom frame rate so it matches what my screen is doing. There's no point having 240 FPS if my screen is only showing 165. And then I kind of keep the menus and out of focus custom frame rates down. Brightness, very, very important. I think 60 is the sweet spot in Caldera, where it means that no one's going to be like hidden in a dark corner. So go for 60. Display gamma is 2.2. NVIDIA highlights, I'd recommend having this off unless you're a content creator like me, where I like having the clips to make videos. And then NVIDIA reflex low latency is enabled plus boost. Next, if we go to the quality section, I'll just quickly apply that just because I know it is, oh God. FOV is at 120. 115 is a pretty good spot as well. I kind of flick between the two depending on what I'm feeling. Very importantly, you need affected ADS field of view. This pretty much removes that visual recoil that you get as it doesn't zoom back in. It kind of holds that wider FOV, so the visual bounce is a lot less, and it just makes, I just find it easier to control because of that. Camera movement, you want that as low as possible, so take that down from 100, which is the default, down to 50%. Streaming quality is low, texture resolution normal. If you're going for max performance, it's actually better just to kind of drop that down to low, gives you more frames, but normal kind of works for me so I can see all the detail on the map. Like I said, content creator wants stuff to look pretty. Then normal, particle quality high, bullet impacts and sprays is enabled, tessellation disabled, dismemberment and gore effects disabled, on-demand texture streaming disabled. This is very important. This is one of the things that will cause you issues with your console and also your PC if you've got it enabled in Caldera. Don't know why, just have it off. Then filmic strength is 0, film grain 0, NVIDIA DLSS, I personally have it off. It causes a whole bunch of problems from my experience, so I just rather kind of have it how it is. I don't need the extra performance, so keep it disabled. Anti-aliasing is SMA T2X. Now, if you're going for max performance, like I said, I like things to look pretty because of content creation. I have it as that. You should have this off, and then filmic strength goes all the way to 1, which gets rid of the kind of the noise. But personally for me, and my particular setup, I go for SMA T2X. It just makes the game look nice. Depth of field disabled. World motion blur disabled. Weapon motion blur disabled. Shadow map resolution is normal. Make sure you've got your sun and spot shadows enabled. Particle lighting low. DirectX ray tracing off. This will destroy your frames if you've got it on. Ambient occlusion. Screen space SSR all disabled, then those are all the key settings. Now, the next thing that you need to make sure that you've got in this is if you go over to the barracks and go to your customization, you need to make sure that they've got two new things. You've got player titles and calling card frames. Have these off. If you've got them on, it's for some reason causing lag in game. It was a bit like when they had weapon charms and things like kind of causing your game to crash back in like Modern Warfare. So turn those off. It should sort a bunch of your problems out. Another setting that I do is in the NVIDIA menus. Now, in the NVIDIA control panel, if you go over to here, what you want to then go to is adjust desktop color settings. And I turn, if you go down, the digital vibrance up to 75. This just makes the map pop even more than it already does and looks really, really nice. And then it also helps you to kind of spot players a lot more. There's kind of a wider contrast between the player colors and the map colors. A really small thing, and also makes the game look better. But those are my best settings for Call of Duty Warzone Pacific. I hope they help. Let me know how you find them in the comments below.